All right, we'll just let everyone enter the room here. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon from wherever you're joining today. Just let a few more people join the room. And while you're waiting, if you could please introduce yourselves in the chat. Let us know what country and city you're joining in from today. Mumbai, great. Fantastic. Indore, Melbourne. All right, so keep that coming. My name is Lindsay Hilcoat, and I'm with Seed Global Education, and I'm based in Toronto, Canada. And I'm really excited to have you join us for our masterclass today. For those of you that are new to joining Seed events, we put on masterclasses like the one we're having today on careers. And we also host in-person events globally in many regions in Asia, Africa, and the Middle East. So we hope to get the chance to meet you in person at some point in time. And we're excited to have the Peter J. Tobin College of Business at St. John's University in New York with us. And they're delivering an extra master class today on elevating your career success. So this is where you're going to learn about building your personal brand, understanding how to strategically navigate your career, and also understand the supports that St. John's has for you should you be choosing to go on a master MBA or master's program with them. They also have a large scholarship. A host of scholarships that are available to you. With the Seed Scholarship Fund, we have over $6 million in scholarships this year, 3 of which are from St. John's. So if you are selecting a program with them, please make sure to check out their scholarships. They're also offering today to attendees an app fee waiver for those that are looking to apply to any of their graduate business programs. So for those of you that don't know, St. John's, it's a leading business school in New York City with strong industry connections and globally recognized graduate programs. And some of our experts in career development today are here to show you how you're going to leverage your business school degree to launch your career, not only in New York, but beyond throughout the US and globally as well. After the masterclass, we're going to be hearing a little bit more about St. John's University, the admissions requirements for the programs that they have on offer. And we'll give you the chance to learn a little bit more and ask questions, individualized questions about career development or about applying to the school itself. So please keep your introductions coming in the chat. I see a lot of countries and cities represented here. So please introduce yourself if you haven't already. And we are going to be launching a poll to learn a little bit more about your interests in just a moment. So please turn your attention to the polls on your screen. And you'll see here the first question. What skill do you feel that you need to strengthen the most for career success? So we've given you a number of options. I think probably the right answer is all of them. But what is most important to you, and what do you feel that you need to strengthen as you develop your career? Is that communication and presentation? Is that leadership and teamwork? Is that technical and analytical skills, time management and productivity, or interviewing and job search skills? So we've got many people frantically answering. I see it's shifting back and forth. I'll give you another 5 seconds to put in your answer on the screen, then we'll share the results. Okay, we've got a clear leader. And that is communication and presentation. So many of you are looking to strengthen that for your career success. Followed by your technical and analytical skills and leadership and teamwork. So this is a great segue into our session today because we have 2 expert speakers that are going to start us out before we pass it on to the admissions presentation. So it's my great pleasure to introduce our guest for today. Maria Alfonso, who is an Associate Director of Career Services, and Elisa Zervos, who is the Director of Career and Professional Development for graduate and online programs. So we're going to hear from them first, and then I'll turn it over to Amber, who is also here, the Director of Graduate Admissions, and she will be presenting a little bit more about the school itself. So at this point, I'm going to be turning off the chat, but I am going to be enabling the Q&A function that's located at the bottom of your screen. So what I encourage you to do is throughout, as you have questions, please pose them in the chat. We are going to be taking some of the questions throughout the presentation and also some at the end live. So please keep those questions coming in the Q&A. And I'm going to turn it over to Maria, who will share a little bit more about elevating your career success. Over to you, Maria.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. My name is Maria Alfonso. I'm a former international student from Colombia, South America. Greetings from New York in Queens. It's a little dark today, rainy, but we're very happy to see a lot of students, prospective students, international students joining this webinar. So I work in University Career Services with my colleague Elisa. We have a team or like more than 30 professionals, including students and graduate students and student workers. And we're here to support our international students in their career journey. Sorry. I've been at St. John's for over 4 years. And Elisa, do you want to introduce yourself before I continue?
Hello, everyone. I'll talk a little bit about myself when it comes to my slides, but you could go right in.
Okay,
Welcome.
thank you. Welcome. So yeah, here in Career Services, what we do is we empower our international students in their career journey. We create connections, right? Connections with employers and also with alumni. And we put together a lot of events and programming so our international students are ready to make those connections and look for career opportunities here in the US or in their native countries. I do want to tell our prospective students we do have a new one-stop shop career hub. It's a 24/7 website where students can have the opportunity to learn about what we do. We have a new structure here in Career Services where we have something called career communities or industries, kind of clusters, so students can explore, right, and navigate different career path. I'm just gonna go to our website so you guys can see my screen. So here is our 24/7 hub where students can again explore the different career path, since most of our audience here are looking into the business, right? So you can explore, for example, like if you want to do something in financial services, but also maybe explore like consulting firms, right? Something in management or even marketing or media. So you have the opportunity to join different career path. You are going to have a dedicated career person. I'm the liaison with the International Service Office, and but our students are going to have a dedicated career advisor who's going to help you navigate and help you be ready for kind of like to make that transition from school to the workforce. We do have a lot of resources so students are ready when it's the time to look for those CPT and OPT opportunities. We have like also some leadership and mentoring programs. So when I'm don't gonna spend more time talking about our website, but when you have time, you can go and click meet the team. You can see we're a very diverse team of, again, more than 30 people with the employer relations, the career advisors, our management team and leadership team. So I I know, again, as I mentioned before, I was an international student a few years ago, decades. And I know it can be very hard, right, to come to a different country, right? And then like make connections. But what I want to tell our students is that you are not alone. You have a dedicated team of again, career advisors and employer relations who are going to be helping you with that. And we also have different tools, right? And I want to highlight two software that we have specifically for our international students. One is Interstride. It is right here. And you can see Interstride it's a platform that connects students with employers and also help them to identify students from your native country where you can also learn about how to network, right? And then how to be career ready. So here it's the main purpose of this software again is for students to have a better understanding about how to find jobs, right? How to have a better understanding and information about the USA visa process, right? How to identify employers who offer CPT and OPT opportunities, as well as companies that have sponsored H-1 visas in the past. So, and again, you students will have the opportunity to have one-on-one with the career advisors. We can help you navigate this website, right? Depending, everybody has different needs. Everybody has a different career path and maybe past work experiences. But I think here is cool that students can also connect and discover other network, right? Identify students from your native country or even, from other countries around the world. And then I'm gonna just demo here for students because I know a large number of students are from India. So here you can see who is a current student, what major they're pursuing, right? And you can message them and connect with them and also connect with them on LinkedIn. So you can see here, these are students from, they're pursuing their masters and in different subjects. So this is a great resource. And then you can identify students and also alumni and staff. You can also learn. They have a lot of webinars, right, on how to help you navigate the visa process, right? How to understand, how to leverage the platform to better support you. And again, like how to use this platform to optimize your job and your internship search. And also a career game plan, an assessment where students can take this career game plan and identify. I know the poll indicated, I believe, that is communication, something maybe that you need to work on, right? Or a skill that is very important for your career journey. So here you can see where the steps that you need to take in order to be ready or be better in that specific skill. So we also have another great platform for our international students to look for opportunities and check events. It's called Handshake. Uday, he's one of our international students from India. And here you can see, you can look for jobs, depending again on what's your interest. You can check events that are hosted directly by St. John's or by our partner schools and employers, how you can connect with recruiters, other students, and also here under Career Center, how you can make an appointment with us and have access to different resources. And again, we have this new website where students have access to all the resources 24/7. We have Interstride, a dedicated platform for our international students, and Handshake. I'm just gonna go back to hear my presentation. And well, I was talking about this platform again that helps students navigate their career development, job searching, and immigration processes. We also have more resources. We do have big interviews so students can practice their interview skills. We have Forage for certification and simulations, Parker Dewey for micro internships. And again, a lot of like online tools and resources that are available for our international students. This is kind of like an overview of the resources that we have. And Elisa, if you want to continue talking
Yeah, of
about.
course. Thank you, Maria. So, welcome everyone. Excited to be here. I have been with St. John's for about 13 years. I too was a business major here in New York. And just recently in 2022, I completed my MBA at the Tobin Business School. A lot of what I've done throughout my career is work in the private sector in New York City, from working in technology to clothing manufacturing to real estate and the construction industry. And now I'm in higher ed, which was never, ever on my radar when I was in my 20s. So just, to point to how Maria defined the career communities, you do have access to go in a lot of different directions and speak to 10 advisors that do specialize in different industries. So it doesn't always have to be, business, marketing, finance, paths. You could have your MBA or MS degree and work in healthcare or work in the non-for-profit industry. So, as I said, I've been here for quite a while, but a couple of years ago, I kind of embarked on selling a new position to the university. What I do, and what I've done for the last 15 years, of course, is career transition, and not only with students, but people already in the workforce. But I've also been a professional development coach, and that simply is working with high potentials across the globe. So I do that for two different companies, one that's based in Germany and one that's based in St. Louis. I work with women in leadership as well, but mainly I work with high potential professionals in helping them remove barriers that get in the way of growth, okay, whether it's vertical or horizontal growth in a company. So if you go to the next slide, Maria. So what I did was the position is a brand new role to St. John's, and my focus is just on graduate students. Typically, you can obviously go to all of the other advisors to prepare you on career search strategies. However, I focus more on developing you within your career, with your first job, working on how to navigate the organizations and things like that. So my programs are typically online programs. I work very closely with faculty and understanding what the population is looking for and getting career development into the classrooms and through online sessions. I know typically a graduate student is taking classes in the evenings. So, having access online is always, pretty important. Partnering with our employer relations team, we have about five directors that work and connect our students to employers. They're here to maintain relationships at St. John's that have worked with us for decades, but also our students, in my eyes, you're our customer. So at any time, come into your career advisor, speak to them, let them know what companies that you're interested in. And we can, tap into our employer relations directors and hopefully make that connection happen. So next slide, Maria. Next slide, please. Oh, okay, there you go. Thank you. Oh, one back, one back. Great. So this is where I am on LinkedIn, if anybody wants to see a little bit of my background. And here are some companies that I currently coach outside of St. John's. So I think being international students, I think you might be familiar with some of these. And this is where I work with high potentials on their professional development. I too lived in another country for about 8 years. I lived in Greece. So I definitely can relate to being a foreigner in a different country without having your typical network that you might have back home. but it's really all about building relationships at this level, learning to navigate the workforce and really honing in on those professional skills. I'm an ICF professional certified coach, which is the highest body that certifies coaches globally. And what I did this semester is I'm piloting a new program for just our graduate students. So, Marie, if you go to the next slide. Okay, and so this really goes down to, I loved the poll earlier. I am totally not surprised that communication hit the top number there. And that's what I do. Once you have your skill set, and that's what you're getting from St. John's, you're sitting in classes, you're going deeper on subjects that you want to learn more about. You're going to get hired based on your skill, but once you get into the company, it's really half of your performance is based on how well you communicate, sell ideas, build relationships, earn the trust of management and senior leaders. Most of the decisions are made when you're not in the room, so your brand is very important. How you articulate your value to the company and where you can solve problems. So, what I did was take, the coaching programs that I do outside of St. John's, and I created a Canvas course that is available to just graduate students. At the end of, working for about 8 or 12 hours on the material and on your assignments, you will get a Credly badge that you can promote on your resume and on your LinkedIn profiles. And what it does is we start off with assessing the competencies or soft skills that you want to work on. So, from executive or professional presence and communication and time management, presentation skills. There are quite a few competencies, but we do assessments on communication style, to see what your style is and to understand the different styles that are out there to make you more of an effective communicator. And that was, I think, a big awareness for me when I entered into, the corporate life. And just understanding how to influence others, how to collaborate best through communication. So it's not only, of course, in person, it's through your writing skills. Everything, today is hybrid. Obviously, we're on a virtual call, which is a great reach. But, there's a different skill set to engaging people online. And from the assessments, each of our graduate students are going to pick one competency that they're going to work on through the semester. And we build out a professional growth plan together. And we do this through a 3-2-1 model. Okay. And what I mean by that is, as a coach, when I contract with people, we always define a goal that they're working on their soft skills. And from there, we build out action steps. And the premise is that the way we change and shift behaviors and grow in competencies, 70% of those actions are learning by doing it. Okay, so they're embedded in your day to day. 20% are learning from others. And I can tell you personally, I think a lot of my learning in organizations, we're sitting in a meeting room and listening to others, observing others, figuring out who asked those questions that nobody asks, or how somebody commands a room and has gravitas when they're speaking. So learning from others is very important. And then, of course, learning from content. So that's what the growth plan is based on. And then from there, there will be some deliverables about, uploading your resume at the graduate level. I couldn't get through a program without looking at your resume and online profile. which is very important. That's your 24/7, let's see, billboard, I would say, to keeping yourself connected to your network. So it's not, about building your LinkedIn, profile, but it's about how to effectively use it to maintain relationships, not just with people, but with professional associations. New York is in our backyard, and I'm a big proponent of creating programs and events that are right in Manhattan. As you all know, we have a Manhattan campus. Our employers are all there, and I would always encourage that in-person connection there. So through this program, we also have a branding exercise, and this is what I talked about earlier. There's this stat that I always give out during my workshops. In order for one to be successful, there are three components. It's based on performance, based on perception of your performance, and based on visibility. And believe it or not, performance accounts for 10%. 30% is perception of how well you are working. And that's really what you're noted for by colleagues that you're working with. And 60% is visibility. So it's really important to understand how to navigate in an organization, build relationships with people, and so forth. So with this professional development program, we're rolling it out in the spring semester. It is a free course. You will, enroll automatically through a welcome mail that we'll be sending out if you choose St. John's. And I think this is a really big added value because this is something that very companies with a really good culture and structure typically offer. They want to retain their employees. Employees want to grow with the company. They want to know clear paths and how to do it. And I think, creating awareness to our students at the graduate level that this exists and how to really ask, maybe on an interview, what companies and, support growth and recognition, and how they retain their employees are great questions to ask or great questions to vet when you're doing a search in your career. So, looking forward to, of course, meeting any one of you. You're welcome to connect with me online on LinkedIn if you have any specific questions. And of course, we're here to answer some questions for you today. So I'll leave it with that. Lindsay?
Great. Thank you so much. Really great advice around, very interesting to hear about the visibility aspect and what is important. And you also touched on a lot of great tips on building those soft skills, competencies. And I'm going to take a moment to just ask one of the questions in the chat because I think it is relevant. So with the vast population of students pursuing a business master's, says Jai, what is a trait that makes students stand out post-graduation when they're going through their career search?
I would say the most important trait is being able to tell a story. Everybody has a story. So it's not so much trying to think, well, what does this employer want to hear me say and sound very scripted and giving just, let's check mark the answers that, I'm going by. But really an authenticity about your past, your present, your thoughts for the future, and all, realistically, when you're early in your career, it's very hard to understand what exactly you wanted to do. Okay. I became a coach many years later, right, of graduating from college. I love what I do. And, my story over the years has kind of added up to understanding that, my natural skill is to coach, is to create awareness, is to ask a lot of questions to students. So I think, having a student articulate their value, tell their story authentically, and speak to an organization, letting them know exactly how they're going to solve a problem or add value, is probably one of the most important traits.
Fantastic. And before we pass it to Amber, I'm just going to ask one more question because Aditya was observing that, I always want to have a backup plan. So, what if I'm choosing the wrong career? And maybe related to what you have just said about, basically a career is not a straight line, but how would you give advice to somebody that's not sure what to choose and how to navigate having a backup for what they're hoping to do in the future?
Yeah. So great question. So, look, every time I coach anyone, whether it's a student or somebody that's already in their career, right, 10, 20 years, it's always going back to, what are your skills that come natural to you? What are your interests and what are you valuing at this juncture? Okay. So really honing in on that first, right? So you could be studying a subject. Maybe you're studying an accounting master's, right? But yet you've always had a creative side of you. So exploring industries that follow your interests and that you can still apply your skill set is really important. I always, think about it's a lattice, your line from, school to that ideal job, and it takes time. So getting internships, any type of exposure to learning about a different industry, joining professional associations that may not be like to what you're studying, but something that complements your field. So really getting out there, asking a lot of questions and putting yourself in front of people, and just remaining curious is always a good backup plan. And to give yourself grace, because sometimes you do take 2 steps back to go 3 steps forward. So just be patient. But we have such a great team, as Maria says, of 30 people that you have access to that you can get advice from and just hear their stories and understand, where they were years ago and where they are now, including our faculty as well.
Fantastic. And really great presentation. Thank you to both of you, Maria and Elisa. I really love seeing that building your network and being able to access the current students and alumni. And you're not alone in being an international student in terms of navigating the career space in the US. So thank you for that. And Elisa, I loved a couple of your words of advice, especially around being authentic. And I think that really does resonate out on the market. I know that sometimes students are looking to be the person that they think somebody wants them to be, but really it's about that storytelling and being your authentic self. So really, really great tips that we've heard. And I'm going to launch our next poll before we go to the admissions presentation. I also see a lot of great questions and we are going to be addressing those at the end. So keep them coming. Amber, I'll just get you to share your screen while I launch our second poll. And as you can see on the screen, we want to know what aspect of St. John's are you most interested in learning about today? So Amber can tailor her presentation a little bit more. So is that the curriculum and specializations, the career outcomes and placement support, industry connections and experiential learning, admissions and eligibility, or student life and campus experience? So what are you hoping that is focused on today? So I'm going to give it another 5 seconds. If you can just put your answer on the poll. It's moving quite a bit. So it seems like people are interested in a wide variety of topics. Okay, so I'm going to close the poll now. And let's see what you said. All right, so industry connections and experiential learning is of interest, which really connects well to our theme today on building career success. So that's great. So with that, I am going to turn over the floor to Amber. And Amber is the Director of Graduate Admissions at St. John's and is here to share a little bit more about St. John's programs and some of the admissions questions that I've already seen coming through on the chat, so you can have some more clarity should you wish to apply. So over to you, Amber.
Thanks so much, Lindsay. Just want to confirm you can see my presentation. Great. Okay. Welcome, everybody. Thanks so much for being here and learning a little bit more about St. John's and marketing yourself in the U.S. US and everywhere. So my name's Amber Steiger. I've been with the university for about 15 years. I'm also a proud alum of the Tobin College of Business with an MS in Enterprise Risk Management. So always happy to chat with anyone about any of the programs, but particularly if you're interested in ERM, that program has a little piece of my heart. You can see some pictures of the campus on my slides here. I'm going to go into a very brief presentation about St. John's, but I know the majority comes in questions, so I'll be here as long as it takes to answer all of your questions and give you an idea of what St. John's has to offer. So first slide is just a little bit of information about some of our statistics, primarily based on the Graduate Business School, which is called the Tobin College of Business. We are proud that at St. John's we have over 86 Fulbright Awards between our students and faculty, and the majority of our curriculum, particularly in the business school, is created alongside with professional organizations. So our risk and financial advisory program, our accounting program, our risk management program, our actual science program, all of those are honored in their own ways by the prominent professional organizations to say that our curriculum is aligned with what employers want our students to be learning, and that they expect to have our students, the knowledge that they expect our students to have upon graduation. Obviously, that ties in hand with what Elisa Maria were speaking about. So know that as we are developing curriculum, we are conscious of that as well. So we're thinking about what's relevant in the marketplace, what's relevant in the industry, and making sure that our students are learning all of the up-to-date information. Also, a lot of rankings here that you can review in terms of US News, Forbes, Intelligent. We are proud of the fact that every year it seems that we're moving up the rankings a little bit more, not just in our academics, but also our basketball, which I'll talk about in just a second. If you're not familiar, as Lindsay mentioned before, our main campus is in Queens. That is about 30 minutes, depending upon where you're going and how you're traveling, to Manhattan. We also have a Manhattan campus, which is a one-story, 105,000, that's New Queens, 105 acres, which is in Queens. This is your quintessential American college campus. So what you've seen in movies with the lawns and the trees and the residence halls and the dining facilities, that's what we have here on our main campus in Queens. And then our Manhattan campus is a one-story building in the middle of the East Village, which is a vibrant multicultural community very close to NYU and Cooper Union, a lot of students, really great area to be in the city and not too far from the financial district. Of course, we also offer almost all of our business programs online as well, which has been a great opportunity, especially given the changes in the visa process recently. We had a few students who unfortunately weren't able to get their visas for this fall. And so they were actually able to start with us online for this semester and now have their visas approved to join us on campus in the spring. So we're always willing to work, especially with international students in the current climate, to get you started with your education as soon as possible and then get you here as soon as you want to be. So a few more stats about St. John's. We have a little under 20,000 students currently enrolled, and that is over all of our campuses, undergrad, grad, and our law school. We have 17 Division I Big East teams. So if you're not following US basketball, which I know is a niche market, we are scheduled to have one of our best seasons. Hopefully, we're ranked 5th in the country right now. Had a great win over the weekend, and we're playing tonight. So check it out, although I think it'll be 2 in the morning or 3 in the morning for you all over there. We are super proud of our diversity at St. John's. So for many years, we were the #1 most diverse Catholic university in the country. We have 48 US states and 118 countries represented as of this fall. On campus, there are 180 different student organizations. Every start of the semester, there's what we call the Campus Activities Fair, which takes over the entire Great Lawn, and you can walk table from table, meeting all of the different organizations on campus to see which meet your needs. And of course, if we have something that doesn't align with your interests, you're welcome to petition to have that club started as well. Two of the most important stats I like to point out is our student to faculty ratio. So although we have a large community here at St. John's, our student to faculty ratio is 15:1. And so that's important because our biggest classrooms hold about 40 students. You're not going to be in those giant lecture halls with 200 or 300 students where your professor doesn't know your name and you're being taught by a teaching assistant. You have direct access to your professors. All of them have office hours where you can meet with them one-on-one weekly, and you really get to know not only your professors, but the students within your cohort as well. Also, we have 200,000 living alumni. 86%, I believe, of Tobin alumni are within the New York City metro region. And why I point that out is because St. John's alums are very proud. They are proud to be Johnnies. They are proud to be part of the St. John's community. We had about 3,000 alum and current students here last month for Stormfest, which is a big carnival on campus. Alums from 50 years ago to just last year were here, all meeting each other and converging on campus. And why that's also important is a lot of our alum also participate in the events that are brought to you by the career services. So when I'm walking the career fair in the fall and in the spring, we'll see alums who are there on behalf of the companies that have hired them, and they know that they want to hire St. John's students because they recognize the value of the St. John's education. There's also a lot of mentorship opportunities. So not only once you're a student here, but once you're an accepted student, we also have alums that will mentor you through the admission process and then through your time here at St. John's. So not only do they give back financially to the university, but they want to be mentors, they want to be involved in the admission process, and they want to guide the next generation of Johnnies through the process, which we often talk about St. John's being a family, and I think that nothing exhibits that more than our strong alumni network. So some graduate outcomes, about 92% of our graduate students were hired or enrolled in a terminal degree within 6 months of graduation. This is reflective of the 2024 class, which is the most recent data available. About 97% of our graduate students would recommend St. John's, and about 97% are in a position related to their career goal. Obviously, we know that when you're making the decision about where to attend, you're looking towards that ROI and that you're going to be able to get a position that's related to your interests. And so we want to make sure that that's a possibility. And that's why we bring in people like Elisa and Maria right away, so that you're aware of their services, aware of what they provide to our students, so that right when you get onto campus at the beginning of September, the middle of January, that you know that Elisa and Maria are there for you, and you start meeting with them and taking advantage of everything that we have to offer. So in terms of scholarships, as that's always a big question, for our graduate students, particularly in the business school, we have a lot of different ways to help weave together a patchwork of financial aid for you. So everyone who's admitted into the business school is considered for merit awards. Those range from anywhere from $3,000 to $9,000 per year, depending upon your application. We also automatically consider you for the work experience award, and you're also considered for department awards. We have full tuition fellowships, which are the Alati and the Zurich fellowships, which are open to students applying to programs within the Greenberg School of Risk Management, Actuarial Science, and Insurance. And then we also have graduate assistantships and doctoral fellowships, which can cover up to about 80% of tuition and come with a stipend. Both of those, the fellowships and the assistantships, require an additional application. And then finally, we have endowed and external scholarships that we share with students that are another way to help finance your education. I know many of you are interested in Tobin and particularly our business programs, which I'll mention in just a second, but I did also just want to highlight that we have over 65 graduate programs, not including the law school here at St. John's. So within all of our colleges, we offer an array of different programming. So should anybody have questions regarding something other than business, please know that you can also reach out to us regarding those programs as well. Specifically relating to the business programs, we offer a 36 credit MBA, a 45 credit STEM MBA. Most of our MS programs are 30 credits, and then we also offer advanced certificates, which range from 15 to 18 credits. These are the different concentrations for your MBA and for your MS. Obviously, you can see it spans a wide breadth of different concentrations and areas of focus. Ones to highlight, I think, that are most attractive right now would be artificial intelligence, business analytics, enterprise risk management, entrepreneurship, fintech, and sustainability seem to be some of our top programs right now. In terms of submitting your admission application, as Lindsay mentioned earlier, we are offering an application fee waiver for everyone who attended today. The link to the application can be found right there in the blue text box. We require one letter of recommendation, your resume, and an essay, as well as all of your transcripts from everywhere you've attended post-secondary school. We do not require the writing sample, lab report, term paper, or GRE for any of the programs within the business school. I just added those as an FYI in case you're looking to apply to a program outside of Tobin. For those who are attending school outside of the US, we do require a course-by-course foreign transcript evaluation by a NACES member. We do have an agreement with Spantran that they provide a discounted evaluation to those applying to St. John's. And then we also require the TOEFL, IELTS, Duolingo, or PTE for anyone whose native language is not English. And that's it for me. I promised I would be quick. Our contact information is listed right here. So if you'd like to follow us on Instagram, this is our best email as well as our phone number, and then the link to apply. And I'm here to answer any and all questions that you have for me as well.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Amber. Very comprehensive. I learned a lot about St. John's, and I hope you all did too. I'm going to bat a couple of related questions to you. First, some candidates are interested in what happens once I submit my application. How long will it be before I can expect to receive an admissions decision?
Great question. So once you submit the actual application, you're then taken to the student portal where you need to upload all of the required materials that we just mentioned here. The timeline really begins once your application is complete. So once you've submitted your transcripts, your evaluation, your language test, your essay, your letter of recommendation, and your resume, most students have a decision within a week or two after your application is complete, sometimes sooner.
Great. There's a lot of questions around career. I know some of them are being answered. One that I wanted to highlight because it was one of the top answers on the poll was, it would be great to hear a little bit more about experiential learning opportunities, internships, as that's been a common question in the chat. So I'll bat that over to either Elisa or Maria if you want to elaborate a little bit more for the audience.
Yeah, I can talk about that. Yes, we do have every semester we put together, we work in conjunction with our employer relations and also alumni relations to put together a lot of events that help our international students to network and connect with potential employers. We do programs like we go to Albany, we also go to Washington, D.C., we go to a day in Wall Street where we take students to the city where they can again visit companies and connect with recruiters and St. John's alumni. We do something called career treks where we go with the students to visit companies and learn more about their internship programs. I know we also have mentoring programs, leadership programs, so the students can connect with St. John's alumni and employers. Elisa, is there something else that you want to
Yeah,
highlight?
there was a tool on Handshake that Maria pointed out earlier. It's called Forage, and this is virtually well, they're self-placed projects that you can do. They are all simulated from Fortune 500 companies. So it's a micro internship, but it allows you to kind of understand a little bit about what the company does and work on a project. And you are basically in their pipeline once you do that. And you can put, once you complete the project, you can put that on your resume as, an experiential, opportunity that you had. Of course, it's not a 3-month internship, but there are different levels of simulations from beginner, intermediate, and advanced. And of course, everything else that Maria said, we have an alumni relations department that also connects our students to alumni from St. John's. And this again, learning from others. So building relationships, understanding career paths from others is really eye-opening to see where they started when they graduated to where they are now.
And Lindsay, if you don't mind, if I could just jump in real quick, have a few things to add as well for Tobin. Within Tobin, we do have the Business Analytics Lab, which has 40 Bloomberg terminals. Next door to that is what we call the VIC, the Venture and Innovation Center. So that's open to all students on campus, all campus community members, even faculty and administrators like myself as well. Basically, wherever you are in the entrepreneurial or startup process, you can go to the VIC to not only hear from entrepreneurs, which are often alumni. They have, gosh, sometimes it seems like weekly speakers coming into the VIC, but they'll guide you along each step of the way through the startup process. We also have something called the Student Management Investment Fund, which is for students who are within the finance concentration. This is available at both the undergraduate and the graduate levels, and our finance students invest the university funds, and they have a incredible growth rate, which has led to over $4 million in scholarship funds for graduate students alone. We also have the Globe Microloan Program. So students are invited to participate in this course based on their concentration in their academics here at St. John's. And basically they find a program or a business that is in a developing nation and provide microloans to that company, help them build business plans and build up their businesses. So I know 2 years ago, there was a company run by women in Afghanistan that they were making wool sweaters from a sheep farm. And so that was one of the microloans that the students worked with to help provide them with some money for some needed supplies and then help build up their plan. So that provides the experiential learning of not only the business plans, but also ties in with our university mission of, helping those less fortunate. We also have EIRP, which is an invite-only opportunity for business students to work with a Fortune 500 company throughout the entire semester on a problem that their C-suite is facing. And so you'll work in conjunction with the company and their representatives on whatever that problem may be, and then present at the end on solutions that you have on behalf of that. We also offer global destination courses. So the Open Doors data just came out this week on study abroad opportunities. In general, graduate students study abroad at about a 2% rate within the US. We have a much higher rate, closer to anywhere between 10 and 12%, depending upon the year for our graduate students. And a lot of those are short-term opportunities as well. Over the summer, they can be 5 weeks, but they can also be a 2-week period, just to really reinforce what you're learning in the classroom. And so certainly try and provide a lot of opportunities to students both in and outside of the classroom. But again, with the experiential learning and then the GDCs, because we have course campuses in Rome and in Paris, that's also an option for students to participate abroad as well.
Fantastic. So I know there's been we've covered a lot about experiential learning within the classroom, outside of the classroom. There is a question around balancing work, either part-time work or an internship. And if you could comment a little bit more about perhaps even differences. Is there a difference for somebody that's doing a Master of Science versus an MBA? And what is your advice around pursuing those opportunities part-time or full-time as an internship? I'll direct that to either Elisa or Maria.
Yeah, I mean, I would say a lot of the classes are in the evening, but again, I don't, Amber might be better able to answer that. It's doable, absolutely doable. I mean, usually an internship requires less than 20 hours a week. So, you could, and some of them are even hybrid. So you don't necessarily waste time traveling to and from an office. So I think it's definitely easy to do. And just, for a quick plug on EIRP, I was in that program and we did 2 consulting jobs in a semester actually for 2 different companies. And it was a great experience. It was really hands-on and understanding and connecting what we were learning in class to what is really needed out there.
And I will just add that in the US, graduate full-time study is 9 credits as opposed to 12 credits on the undergraduate side, which means 3 courses as opposed to 4. So you do have the ability to be full-time and maintain that status while taking one less course. which can be helpful, obviously, if you're looking for more time for an internship. We also have a lot of flexibility within Tobin. So because the majority of our courses are available on the Queens and the Manhattan campus, if you were to get an internship, say, downtown in the financial district, you could opt to take your courses in the Manhattan campus that semester just to make the commute less. So we'll certainly work with you in terms of that, but the flexibility has always been helpful for students for that as well.
Sounds like a lot of flexibility and support for that. So that's great. I do see that Maria's already partially answered the question on the career side for support services provided for international students. But I'd like to ask all of our speakers to elaborate a little bit more on what can an international student expect in terms of specific supports for them. I see a mention of international advisors. So what are those specific resources that international students can leverage?
Sure. So when applicants apply to the university, one of the questions we ask is what your citizenship status is. If you are an international student, we recommend that you select that you're applying for an F1 visa. And then as soon as you submit that application within a day, you'll receive an email from our International Student Services office. They are your one-stop shop for everything that you need as you're applying for your visa. They help walk you through that entire process. And they're also your one-stop shop once you're here. And so not only is your advisor there to help make sure that we can get you into the country okay, but of course, if you need any support while you are here, for example, we have about 18 graduate students right now from Jamaica who were just impacted by Hurricane Melissa. And so when we found out about that hurricane, we immediately reached out to our students from Jamaica, have been in constant contact with them ever since. And then even one of them received a scholarship from IEE this week based on the hurricane and the fact that she had some financial difficulties as a result of the hurricane. So in terms of support, we make sure that you are as supported as possible and that you're with your advisor as well as admission and then career services and your departments as much as you need.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Amber. I just want to add, we here in Career Services, we work in collaboration, in conjunction with the International Service Office, putting together different workshops. Because we know that our international students may have different questions, right? And then we help them, like if it's something about networking, on how they can improve their interview skills. So we have like tailored, customized workshop for our international students.
Great. Sounds like a lot of specific supports for international students and a strong international student community.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
I'll also, if I could just interject one thing, being a native person from Queens, we are the most diverse county in the United States. I grew up in Queens. I lived in Europe for 7 years, came back and wanted to come back to Queens because of so many faces. And it's such a melting pot. It really is the melting pot of New York City, I think. So outside of campus too, there's definitely a comfort level of a lot of different ethnicities.
Fantastic. Now there's a question I'm going to ask Amber around managing the expenses. I know you spoke a lot about scholarships already and supports, but what do you see in terms of international students managing and expenses, and what should they expect to save to prepare for this? Are they living on campus generally? What are some of the considerations on the financial side beyond scholarships?
Sure. So absolutely, this is, top of mind for most international students. And we want to ensure that our students are financially prepared to live and thrive in New York City, which we all know is an expensive city. And so that is part of the visa process, is to ensure that you will have the funds necessary to cover not only your tuition, but also your living expenses while you are here in the US. As Lisa Marie talked about, there's also the internships, and then ISSO will work with you in terms of what you're able to do in terms of working while you are here, and then also in terms of OPT and CPT once you graduate. But we definitely want to ensure that you are equipped to handle the financial requirements while you are here. And so that also speaks back to the flexibility of, some of our international students will say, hey, I can't financially provide for an entire year to live in New York City or the entire degree. So I'm going to come for one semester, meet my cohort, get to know my faculty, and then I'll go back home and continue the degree online. And so that's really one of the options that has become attractive for our international students as well. And we'll work with you in terms of that flexibility.
Great, thank you. That is very unique to be able to have that flexibility to save some funds as well. Okay, we are rounding out the hour, and I know a couple of speakers have to move on to other meetings for the day, but I did just want to note all of the wonderful answers that were already provided around careers in the chat. So please have a look at all of the support services and answers around career-related questions within the Q&A. So a big thank you to Elisa and Maria for that. And I am going to keep Amber on because she did promise to go through all of the questions, and we have one more that we'll finish off with. But very big thank you to our career experts for today for sharing all of the wonderful services at St. John's, and also some great advice about developing those soft skills and those competencies as you're navigating your career. So thank you so much.
Great. My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'll finish with our last question, which is a great one from Rajendra, which is building a strong application to get into business school. So what does a strong application look like, which would lead to greater chances of being shortlisted for admission?
Great question. So in addition to getting everything in that is required for the application, right, and getting everything submitted in a timely fashion, I do recommend taking advantage of the essay component. If you have participated in this event or other events with SEED at St. John's, you know, whether you're meeting us on the road as part of the fairs or you're meeting with the counselors individually, you know, definitely highlight your passion not only for the field, but also for St. John's. The faculty who we work with to review applications are the faculty that are going to be with you in the classroom. And so for them to be able to see, oh, an applicant actually took the time to attend 2 or 3 events, they truly understand what our curriculum is about, what our school is about, that speaks volumes to your dedication to the university. And I also say take advantage also of your letter of recommendation. Oftentimes students think that it's more important to have someone of a higher status or a higher title on their letter of recommendation. But in reality, we're looking for someone who really can speak to your work ethic and your character and what fit you would have here at St. John's as opposed to potentially another school, whether you're academically and personally ready for a graduate degree. So really look for someone who knows you well and can speak to your abilities, as opposed to someone who necessarily has a high title for your letter of recommendation as well.
Great tips. Thank you, Amber. And with that, we have gotten through all of the questions. So thank you to those who have joined us and really took the time to ask for some very thoughtful questions today. We have on the screen, as you can see, next steps on how to apply. And I'll just let Amber close it out with reminding you how to access that app fee waiver from today and any last tips that she has as you're preparing and navigating all of the information from St. John's.
Great. So the link is on the screen, as Lindsay mentioned. Once we receive the information of everyone who attended today, we'll go ahead and automatically apply that waiver for you. If for some reason you go ahead and apply right this second and you don't see the application fee waiver on your portal, go ahead and send us an email and let us know that you attended the event, and we'll go ahead and manually waive the application fee for you. And then I'll just say, keep an eye on the Instagram as well. We host Instagram Lives every month. We host incomplete and accepted student chats every month. And that's a great way to get to know your counselor, as well as get to meet other students and see campus and what we're all about and what's going on. So feel free and add us to the Instagram as well.
Awesome. Thank you, Amber. And thank you for showing how flexible and supportive St. John's is for international students. And thank you to all of you for joining us today and for your thoughtful questions. And we hope to see you again.
Thanks so much, everybody. Have a great day.
Bye.